Father of the Year will not be going to Tony Soprano because when his son AJ refuses to go to the cinema with him, he puts his fat ass down and says, "Well, I'm not watching you swim, big man." And let's dive straight into this episode that is Bust Out, episode 10, season 2. We've got the return of Robert Patrick, and the episode title does refer to his business, which just goes bust, I guess. But Tony Soprano could be going bust. He could be going inside because a witness...
There's a witness, Tony.
Has identified Tony as one of the men who murdered Matt. Tony, of course, is panicking because he's going to jail potentially.
Imagine the prospect of going to jail for killing this bum. Like, this fucking nobody.
I know, absolute jabroni.
All the things Tony's done, yet he could go to jail for killing this guy.
I know.
That's crazy. Like.
And the witness couldn't actually see who the other person was, but he described him as a bit husky. So who do you think? Who in Tony's crew looks a bit husky?
Gotta be Big Sal, buddy.
Yeah. Because see, apart from Tony, they're the only two that are a bit out of shape and fat, aren't they?
Yeah.
Unless it's Uncle Junior's right-hand slave bitch, Bobby, but he doesn't really run about with Tony. But yeah.
Or the guy that killed in the finale.
Jimmy. Jimmy Altieri. Is Jimmy Altieri still alive? But Big Sal is then confronted by Skip. He's fuming. He's like, why the fuck didn't you tell us about Tony, who he killed? But Big Sal's argument, right, is... I'm not close to Tony, you know that. Therefore, I had nothing to do with this. I'm not even aware. And then Skip tells him, well, you know what? I don't really care. I need you to get Tony to admit on tape that he, in fact, killed Matt. And there has to be no ifs or buts. He has to go, I killed Matt Bilzawakwa, whatever he's called.
How does he... see with the way they talk in code, though, and stuff, how does he expect to get that from Tony? That revelation?
Like, at best you're going to get, right, is Tony going, I do not want to do 20 years for killing that kid Matt, which... But the way they word it, right, in the FBI and the rats, it's almost like he literally needs to go, I murdered Matt Billawankwa at 210 High Street. That's what you need to word it like.
Yeah.
Which I think's ridiculous, right? I get it, they've got these rats under their thumb and they can basically just tell them to do anything, wear a wire to it. But there has to be a bit of leeway. Because if Big Sal just goes in and goes to Tony, here, what about us killing that Matt guy? Well, more of you. And then Tony's like, well, it was me, actually. I guess I pulled the trigger first. I shot Matt Billawankwa right between the eyes. Come on, Tony is not that stupid. And you kind of feel sorry for Big Sal because, of course, he was there. I mean, he actually looked at Tony for a wee bit of permission to shoot these guys. But is what it is. Tony, though, he's loving life because they are... basically just hoovering all the money out of Davy's shop. What do you make of Robert Patrick in this episode? He's kind of going in a mental breakdown, isn't he?
Yeah, his store's done.
It's done. So, because he can't pay them back, Richie and, well, more or less Tony, they are basically squeezing everything out of this company. They are essentially getting him to order stuff that he just cannot pay, but they are taking all the stuff that he's ordering, and then they're just going to sell it on and make profit, which... From Tony's perspective, this is smart, but it's absolutely shafting this guy.
Yeah, it's killing his business.
Like, we get the whole airline tickets deal as well. I mean, that's going to obviously set this guy back a lot. He kind of loses his temper, and then Tony's like, well, it's all right, Davey, it's all right. But is it all right for Davey? Because it's not. We see him on top of his car. He's about to. He actually, so it must be a case of Russian roulette where he's got one in the chamber. He pulls the trigger twice. And then his wife comes home, in which...
It was a pool table.
Was it a pool table?
Yes.
Right, well, wait, does it really matter what he's lying on top?
It does, because then she argues about him. Oh, get off that. You tell people it'll wreck the velvet. Me?
Is that what she said?
Yes.
Fuck, you pay attention, don't you?
I do, aye. Pool table he's standing on. Or maybe a snooker table, it was definitely a table.
Oh, it wasn't going to be a 147, was it?
No.
It was going to be a Colt Magnum 44 to the skull. But Big Davey, things aren't looking good, but he has a brother-in-law who's doing some papering in the Soprano household. His name is Victor Musto. And you know what? I don't even think this guy appears in any other episodes, but does this guy not give you the most nicest guy down to earth sort of vibe? But he's a big tough guy at the same time.
Yeah, he does seem alright, but he's just, arseholes at the same time,
Exactly, but yep, him and Carmela end up kissing in the back room, to which she's like, oh my god, I met sweet Mary Jesus.
Oh my god, don't tell Tony.
Sweet Mary, mother of Jesus, I never thought I'd do anything like this. It's fucking, I don't know how this bitch, right, got so many fucking Emmy nominations, but do you not think she fucking sucks?
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much overacting. I feel like with Tony, right, and James Gandolfini, it just comes naturally. I feel like with her, it's so put on, and the screeching voice. She's literally just Livia, but like 40 years younger and not senile.
40 years?
I'd say so, yeah.
Fair enough.
What do you think Livia is?
Not 40 years older than Carmella.
She is.
So you think Livia's about, what, fucking 85 or something like that?
Carmella's about 38. Tony?
Alright, fair enough.
Tony's about 40.
Fair enough.
Well, there you go, guys. You learn something new every...
So you think Livia...
Well, the actress that died when she died was like 80.
Right, okay.
That's just my logic. Right, well, 40 years, man, does it matter?
Doesn't matter, not really. I mean...
Because, honestly, man, it really doesn't. And the only time we see Livia is coming down the stairs. Oh, why don't you turn that off? Can I smell marijuana? Fucking, why see Richie, man? See, instead of pointing the gun to Janice, fucking point it to her head, man. I am so glad, right? Spoiler alert, but she dies in between season 2 and 3, and we do not get to see her. And like you said, we don't even get to see her coming out of hospital or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like 1 minute she's in that old folks' home, and then the next minute she's coming down an electric fucking stairs.
Exactly. What is going on? You could have thought she died or something, but I don't even think there's that many more scenes of Livia going forward. We see Richie and Janice, they head over to Junior's, and I think Junior's just came accustomed to this bum life, sitting on the couch watching daytime television. He's like watching some like romance drama, isn't he?
Yeah, I think we need to see the redemption arc.
A Junior Soprano. He's absolute pish, and Richie's like, oh, I think Tony needs to go. He's like, oh, watch your tongue, that's my nephew you're talking about. But
wasn't that last season?
That's what Richie says to him, and then he's like, well,
Time's changed, buddy.
his kid's sister stole a $20 bill out my wallet when she was 10, so you need to watch it. It's mad that he remembers that and brings it up, isn't it?
Yeah, totally, I know.
But what is the plan for Junior? Is he just going to sit on this armchair for the rest of this season and see it out?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, maybe he'll end up in an old folks' home.
I feel like with Junior in this season, I know he could have just spent it in jail, which would have been, we could argue, worse for his sake, but is it not a waste that he's just sitting here under house arrest doing nothing?
Yeah, if they were going to do nothing, why not just leave him in prison?
Yeah, exactly. Like he's sitting in house arrest, getting visited by a bunch of jocks. Like, when was the last time Tony went to Junior's? The last time we seen them together was when Richie gave him the jacket like 3 episodes ago, which of course...
The jacket.
He fucking disrespected the jacket. Tony then goes to his lawyer, gives him 400,000, says that every time Carmella comes, you give her basically a stack of things, and she wants to take it all at one point, then fair enough. Where's he just pulled this 400 grand from?
Could be a surplus.
And then he goes to Beansy, he's like, there's 50 grand, donate to a charity. Is it not mad like that he's just literally giving 50 grand to this Beansy guy?
Okay, no, I wish you give me 50 grand.
He gives it to this guy though, like it's a big pile of warm dog shite.
I would take 50 grand, like.
Honestly though, it's insane. Tony then comes down the stairs, he sees AJ, they go out to have a wee swim. AJ then goes to like turn the pool temperature up, but there's a spider and he shites it. Tony pretends he's got it, and AJ then runs and jumps in the pool. And to tell you what, right, this kid, the actor, can't even remember, Robert Ayer or something, whatever the actor, he must have put so much weight on this season. Do you know he's put on about 4 stone?
Yeah, from like a couple of episodes ago, so I don't know if they took like a decent amount of time out between filming episodes, but...
I think it's because he doesn't appear every episode. Right. So obviously like an episode could take like what? Like a month, but even then, like it's weird to think how much weight this kid's put on. Tony then suggests wanting to go to the movies, but of course AJ's like, no, I'm going to the mall with my friends, which then he goes to the psychiatrist. But is Tony really pissed here that his son's like growing up and having friends, or is it kind of like he's not doing what I tell him to do, or do you think he really gives a shit?
It's a hard one to take. It's hard, like, I don't know. You
kind of get mixed emotions this episode of like, Tony's like, does he really love his kids, or is he doing this for them, which he claims to do? I actually don't know. I think he's a sociopath who's just been in this life and he's got kids while being in this life. Do you really think he's in this mob doing what he's doing for his kids, giving them the best life.
Well, that's what he says he's doing.
Do you buy it though?
No, I don't know.
I don't really buy it if I'm being honest. But
His kids have the best life. If that's what he was wanted, he could walk away. He's got money, got that house.
No, exactly. And then he gives it the whole talk of, once they're 18, the government can do what they want. They can arrest me. He talks a fucking good. Are you trying to tell me as soon as this kid AJ turns 18?
Tony's just going to walk in and be like, yeah, put the cuffs on me.
Put the cuffs on me. It's time to go. But he is camping out in Davy's store because he doesn't want to be at home in case the police show up, so he's got time to escape. And then, as Polly leaves, he hears somebody coughing, and he turns around, and Davy is sitting in the tent, and Davy's got a bit of stubble. He's just looking rough. He's looking like the most generic gambler addict that there is. Tony basically starts speaking to him about back in school when he got moved into the same class as Tony in 10th grade. And then when Davy tries to speak of when they were in school, he's like, here, Davy, don't get fucking reminiscent with me, old boy. He's like, alright, fucking shoots him down. And then Davy's like, what's the end game of my business? And he basically says, well, we're going to milk it dry, then you're going to go bust. Davy then starts crying. And then Tony says, here, see in that big game, everything was fair. You could have easily won a lot of money as you lost it. But is that really comforting?
Hard truths into it, but it's
and he
not
also
really.
says here, the only reason I let you in the game because I knew we could do this to your shit store. It's a fucking proper heel turn for Tony.
So it's almost like Tony actually fucking shafted this guy. It was almost like Tony knew this would happen.
No, yeah, literally. And then I think we get the scene of the episode, which is weird because it's between David Scatano and his brother-in-law. I like this scene in the bar. It almost did feel like The Sopranos, though, didn't it?
No.
When these two are talking to each other, he's like, oh, don't tell me you blew Eric's college fund. And then this Victor guy, Victor the Saint, goes, I'll pay for Eric's college fund. And he's like, oh, you're a good man, Gamblers Anonymous. But Davey trying to pin the blame on this guy. Oh, where were you during my first round of Gamblers Anonymous? Well, fuck you. I mean, honestly. And then because he finds out that it's Tony who's basically run the business into the ground, he doesn't go back to paper the house at Tony's house, brother. And Davey's house then goes into bust. The witness has
Shop.
His shop?
My store wasn't his house, it was in the bust.
The storehouse. It was a big fucking 14,500 acres.
I'm sorry, big store.
That's a
They
massive
blew it all in a poker game, crazy.
retard, man. Honestly, retard. The witness then pulls out because they see that it's connected to the mafia. Kind of shitebag tactics, isn't it?
It is.
It is. And then Tony, obviously loving life, he goes into the same bathroom earlier that Carmela and this Victor guy kissed in, and he's laughing about how lucky he is. And then the next scene, we basically just get him and AJ in the boat, and this is just very cringy, isn't it?
Yeah.
We also do get scenes before where AJ where he actually says to Carmel, well, it wasn't that the other day when he blew me off. How fucking childish is that?
I didn't go to swimming because he wouldn't go to the cinema with me.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Tony, what age are you? 6? And then she tries to hit Tony. He's like, what are you doing? Then she just runs upstairs.
Then he feels sorry for himself, has a drink, Meadow comes in late at night. Why is no one questioning? Why is he not saying, where the fuck were you? She comes in, he says, I did everything for you. And she's just saying, go to bed, Dad. You're drunk.
I think you can clearly tell, though, he loves Meadow more than AJ.
No, maybe I
I don't know, I just don't feel there's a connection between
possibly
AJ and Tony. I mean, we do get them on the boat, which you thought was weird because the two guys in the canoe just jumped off, even though Tony's already moved the boat. But yeah, that's pretty much how this episode ends. A canoe capsizes, and has this show capsized?
I mean, I just feel like every episode's just going to be an average episode, a decent episode.
I don't feel like the best scene of a show should be two guys who have barely featured talking about gambling.
No.
And I think it was the best scene.
One of the best,
Anyway, guys, that is us done. What do you think is going to happen next? I mean, basically, they bring this whole witness hype in, and it dies within an episode. Would it not be better to carry that out like the last couple of episodes?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they just killed multiple things off.
We didn't see Christopher. Christopher looks like he's all right. Matt's dead. That case is going nowhere.
That's what I mean. If Christopher was really...
Davy's shops went bust.
The fact that we don't see Christopher just kind of makes you feel like, well, he can't be that bad. It's not life or death. Because there's no follow-up with him.
Yep. Anyway, I'm going to give this episode.
Yeah, 5.
I'm going to give it a 5 too. Can The Sopranos get better?
I hope so.
I hope so. Will it though? Probably not. Till next time. Peace.